We are live in Studio K with Twin Cities noise artist Theodolite. How are you feeling coming off that performance?
Feeling pretty all right. Feeling sweaty,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty happy with it. I thought it went pretty well.
Yeah, dude, that was sick.
Thank you.
And why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about what we just heard?
Hi, I'm Logan, or Theodolite, as you know me now. This a solo project, solo harsh noise project of mine. I've been doing noise for quite a while now, under like different names or whatever. But this is like a new, more official, I think, project. So this is the debut of Theodolite. I haven't performed a set of this project yet, so lucky for Radio K listeners.
Oh, dude, so awesome. So glad we could have you in. And kind of to take things back, I guess, I was hoping you could walk us through like the beginning of your musical life. What were some of the first artists you got into as a child, but also like how did you get into noise specifically?
Yeah. Well, like finding noise. Like when I was in high school, I was getting into like post punk and like I mean like the OG like punk,
Yeah.
like of like the '70s or whatever. But then like discovered no wave bands like DNA and like off of like the No New York compilation, which was like the first really like heavy, loud, like harsh stuff that I ever really heard. And yeah, I was super into no wave growing up. Like I said, like in high school, and then I think as a lot of people around my age, how they discover noise is like through the internet and like it'll be like, oh, these are the top 10 scariest albums of all time. And I think it was like a Merzbow record.
Yeah, it's,
It was,
it's
it was
always like
probably
Paul
like,
Steeman.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I think it was probably Paul Steeman
Vernology.
or it might have been like an early Prurient
Yeah.
record. And I definitely liked it, but I didn't really like quite get noise until like right after college, really. Just because like I don't know, it finally like clicked somehow. Finding like yeah like a lot of like Prurient's work is still really inspiring to me. I then like just went down the rabbit hole of discovering noise, which is definitely one of my favorite parts of the genre. Is just feeling
Yeah.
like it's this
It's like
endless
endless.
pit of stuff to find or whatever, you know.
Mm.
And yeah, finally like discovered like the local Twin Cities scene here, and was like, eventually I reached a point where I was like, I think I can like do this. I didn't play music growing up. I just listened to it, but this was like the one thing where I was like, I feel like I could maybe try to pull something off here. So
On that note, like, how did you start making noise, and like, what led you to doing performances, and what did your like first rig look like?
a few of the pedals that you see here are from like yeah like my first purchases when I was starting to buy gear, like my equalizer, and obviously the Boss distortion pedal, of course, is a staple.
Oh, gotta have that.
Yeah, and definitely like my earliest gigs, my earliest shows, I definitely look back with a lot of embarrassment now. You know, you have to go through it when you're starting out. You got to start cringed in order to get good or whatever. But yeah, it was a lot of just like very, very old school, prurient, like straight, just harsh microphone feedback. And I was like always like swinging around, screaming my head off. I used to be very violent in my sets, just because I was a really angry guy for the time. So I was usually walking away from a show like bleeding out of my head or whatever. But now I'm like I like more like my taste in noise has changed. So it's like I like more of the slower build up kind of structural stuff and kind of more field recording stuff, which is definitely what this project is more so about sonically.
And on that note, I guess like what goes into this project, and kind of not songwriting, I guess is sort of the wrong word, but like what does your process look like?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely like when it comes to like recording or whatever, I usually will just like pick a few albums that I'm like really obsessed with at the moment, and kind of just use those as like just like a something to go off of in terms of like, okay, this is kind of the approach I'm going for or whatever. And then I'll kind of just spend like a month or whatever just recording a bunch. Sometimes even longer. Just like recording kind of like what you just saw right now, or it's just I'm out there like just doing field recordings of sounds I hear out in my environment or whatever. A lot of the sounds you heard tonight were like geese and like birds and logs dropping on the ground or whatever, and then that's all just from like a cabin trip I took last year, and I was like, I gotta use this for something, and got the sampler here, and so I was just like, oh, I can finally utilize it in some way. So I don't know. Yeah, and then just like after that, I bring everything onto the computer, and then I try to build the song from there. Really. So yeah, my live performances are very different from the
Yeah.
recordings. Will be like when they're eventually out. So yeah.
And on the note of like live performances, when going into like a live performance, do you have any plan? And do you like what does I guess the structure look like?
Um, like this, like really, it was just like the only thing I like prepped for this at least was just like, okay, I'm gonna start with a sampler and then go to contact mic. That was really it. Like, I loaded just a few of my favorite samples of recordings on the sampler and was like, I'll just do something with this, you know. And then yeah, after that, it's like once I'm on like the contact mic or whatever, it's just I'm just like playing around, whatever sounds good. I'm gonna just find it, grab some energy from it or whatever, yeah, and yeah, like really, like yeah, I feel like my performances moving forward are going to be very different and unique. Like each performance,
Yeah.
I'll try to do something unique
That's
from
sick.
the last one. Yeah.
And I was wondering if you could like walk us through your rig, like what gear do you use? What makes it all happen?
Yeah, so I got the SP404, just a really awesome, powerful sampler. I still don't really know how to use it. I'm still a novice with it, so I'm still learning. Kind of just like picking a few effects on it, and just playing a bunch of loud field recording stuff. Then going into it, starting the chain, we got just a Behringer Super Fuzz into a Boss Distortion. And then these are the two newest pedals, which are my Red Panda Bitmap, which is just like a bit crusher. You get some really nice staticky kind of fuzzed out stuff with it, but it also works as like an overdrive and distortion on top of everything, which is really fun to mess around with. After that, I got this cutting room floor pedal from Recovery Effects, which is just it's a tape emulation pedal, so it kind of emulates the sounds of tape essentially, or tape manipulation. It's got this freeze button on it, so I can kind of like freeze whatever's
that's
going on
sick.
at once, which is like comes in really handy to build some more tension or whatever sonically. And then lastly, it just goes into a Boss EQ, which is honestly what I'm kind of messing around with the most when I'm playing, at least when I'm recording at least. And then just into a random Eurorack mixer that my buddy Sam gave me, and then in this little practice amp that you see here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And who are your major influences like for Theodolite?
There's a lot. I definitely definitely with every recording or performance, I'm gonna be influenced by someone else than the previous thing I do. But definitely like when I was like coming up with the project, I'd say like the biggest influences are like Joe Stod, I think that's how you say it. Laps, incredible wall project. Commuter. Commuter was definitely like the biggest inspiration for this project when I was starting it. Spring of Life out of Canada, or Jute from Canada. I'm a very big fan of Canadian noise. A lot of my favorite stuff is from there. So I don't know. I'm kind of just naming my favorites of all time right now because
That makes sense.
they're all
though.
influential to me
Yeah.
in some way. So yeah.
And you've put out a noise project under a different name, and I was wondering how that sort of evolved into Theodolite. And I mean, you've mentioned it already, but if you're planning on putting out some recordings.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, my first project was called Static Contour. I played a few sets. I do have one release out on YouTube. It's called Devotion, which was like a multimedia experiment release. I shot a short film where it was like this dialogue between these two characters, and then I just took the audio and then just crushed it into like this static sound. So it's on YouTube. You can watch that. It's called Devotion. I'm still very proud of it. That was definitely when I was trying to do more of like a theatrical kind of thing with the noise or whatever. Now it's like I just want to focus more on like just the sound by itself, really, with Theodolite. yeah, very much more of an emphasis on field recordings. And I don't know, I think it just like Static Contour was just like the first of me like finding noise and getting to know how to do it, you know. And
Mm,
Theodolite is like I'm finally feeling like I'm like
yeah.
solidifying my sound more. So yeah,
And this is the Theodolite debut,
this
and
is.
I was wondering if you're looking to like incorporate more elements into the performances as you go on. I mean, you kind of mentioned already how
Mhm.
you would, but
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm open to like kind of anything. I know some people I've been talking to about some kind of like multimedia stuff for this project. I don't know when or if that will even happen, but hopefully someday. But right now, I'm working on a release right now. I can't promise when it'll be out. I wish I could say tomorrow, but it definitely is not going to happen because I'm too much of a perfectionist when it comes to this stuff. But it's coming along. It's very far in, so I mean, hopefully sooner rather than later. But keep an eye out. It's going to be out, and it's going to be awesome.
dude, stoked. And you also play in local power violence band Rhyme,
Yeah.
where you play bass and noise table in that. And I wanted to know how you sort of change your approach to noise when doing a solo set like this, as opposed to, playing with a band.
I think with rhyme, I'm not really trying to like think with the noise. I'm just letting it. I'm just trying to be loud and fast and crazy and chaotic, really, to match the energy of power violence as a genre, you know, and just incorporate a noise rock element into it. Theodolite is I want to be more like methodical with it. I want to have more droney ambient stuff. Really, that's really the only real differences
Yeah.
with the two. Yeah.
And Minneapolis has a pretty sweet noise scene. What do you think separates it from like other cities?
Definitely, I think I don't know. Noise was pretty big here during the mid and early 2000s, and it definitely died out a little bit after like during COVID, of course, as so many other stuff around here. But I don't know. There's a lot of really great acts, like legendary acts that are from here. That definitely makes this a standout spot in the Midwest scene, I would say. We're also such like an isolated
Yeah.
city, you know, and we're smaller compared to a lot of other cities around here in the Midwest, at least, you know. Um, uh, but yeah, I mean, like the fact that like the White Centipede Noise host is from here, definitely says something about like the Twin Cities sound or whatever, you know. Also, like some of the best like sound engineers for noise are here. Grant Richardson in particular. We got Phage Tapes and Tourniquet happens here, and then there's just a really great newer scene of younger people starting to like get loud and crazy, which is really exciting to see. And I don't know, there's a lot of variety with the sound here. I feel like there's a lot of different pockets of noise genres to find and
Hmm.
like find your footing in. A lot of people to ask like for help or whatever. So it's a great spot here.
Yeah, it really seems like everyone has like here in the scene has like some sort of vested interest in
Mm-hmm.
noise.
Mm-hmm.
Any type of noise, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's definitely something I've noticed. And we have one question that we like to ask every artist that comes in: Dream Bill, dead or alive. You get to play with 5 artists. Who are you picking?
Five. Okay. Let's see. I'll say. I mean, I kind of named a few already. I'll say Spring of Life for sure is on that bill. I'll say Parasite Nurse, incredible New York project. I'll say, oh, man. I'll say Lapse, Macronympha, and lastly, to finish off the night, I'll say Leatherman.
You shout out Leatherman,
Yeah.
Radio K legends. Final question: do you have any shows coming up, and what do we have to look forward to?
Yeah, like I said, I'm working on a release. That'll be out someday. But in terms of playing, I got 2 shows in July. July 10th, for I worked on this like tour documentary for another local band, Night at All Things.
Oh, sweet.
Incredible act. So we're having a film screening, and we'll be having some sets, and I'll be opening the night.
That'll be awesome.
With a noise set. So July 10th at the Pattern Room. Definitely check that out. And then my only other show is Memory Lanes on July 18th. It's like a noisecore grind PV night. It's gonna be super fun.
Oh, is that the show Ampula's playing?
Yeah,
Yeah, that'll be
so
sick.
it's gonna be So I'm doing Theodolite, and Rhyme is also playing.
Oh,
so you
fire.
can check out my band there as well.
Well, yeah, thank you so much for coming in. And you've been listening to Theodolite live on Radio K, Real College Radio.